Hello, my name is Caleb Wodeski from York River Academy, class of 2016, and this video is in memory of Sergeant Melvin Douglas Rash. Melvin Douglas Rash was born June 8, 1946 in Plymouth Naval Weapons Station, Virginia, to Howard Clifford Rash and Myrtle Louise Rash. He had an older brother, Larry, as well as a younger sister, Renee. The family moved to a small farm in Eldora, Iowa, and later moved to Yorktown, and Melvin graduated from York High in 1966.
Yeah, we were just typical boys. We lived on a farm in Iowa, and well, wasn't much to get into because it was way out. I think our nearest neighbor was about a half mile away, and so that's where we learned to ride a bicycle and just get into whatever trouble we could on a farm. Well, he went right straight from the into the Air Force, right out of the high school, and so.
So he wasn't like drafted? Or...
No, he would have been drafted because that was during the Vietnam era, and so he rather than get drafted into the Army, he joined the Air Force.
Melvin was the top of his class and was later placed in the 41st Tactical Airlift Squadron on the Blind Batch mission that was stationed in Ubon, Thailand.
We knew the bases he was on, and I can't recollect all those, but all I know is that he was a loadmaster on the C-130, and so he was responsible then for prepping the loads for drops.
On the night of May 22, 1968, Melvin's plane, the Blind Bats 1, was shot down during one of these missions near the border of Laos. No one survived the crash. Melvin was considered MIA until 1978 when his status was changed to presumed killed.
All I know is that on the last mission, they had a night mission dropping flares over Laos or over the enemy zone. And it was on their way home, and they had they weren't too far out from the home base when they lost contact with the plane. And I think one of the group circled back around where they lost contact with it, and they saw some fire on the ground, but that's the only thing we had to go on until 40 years later.
After years of research, the crash site was located in 2002. With the use of DNA, the remains of Sergeant Rash were positively identified in 2009. Sergeant Rash was then buried at Arlington National Cemetery on December 7, 2009.
They found the plane, this crash site, in 2008, and they investigated that for about a year, of which this inch-plus document identifies. And well, then there was the pilot and my brother were the two that they had a positive ID of, because they sent me a packet, I guess it was 2008 after they found the crash site, and I sent them a blood sample to allow them to make a positive ID of his remains. But they carried him as missing in action for about 10 years. And then so from 68 to 78, he was just carried as missing in action, which means he continued to be paid and continued to be promoted. But then in 10 years later, after 68 and 78, then they made a declaration of death. And so the unfortunate thing is that Mom and Dad both passed away before we brought him home. Right. And so I was the eldest. And so I basically brought him home and got him buried in Arlington. But Mom and Dad both had already passed away by the time we found out what positively happened to them. Every time I see a C-130 fly over, I, of course, stop and watch it fly. And one of the guys in the club has got a model of the C-130 flying, and so I enjoy watching him fly that airplane. And it's all sort of reminiscent of him. Reminds me of my brother. I've got picked up a CD of the old album that he and I used to listen to all the time, and once in a while I'll put that on when I'm cruising around, and it's just like him being in the seat next to me. Mm-hmm.